welcome to Editorials, a broadcast from Canada. My name is Sandra Asante. Today we are looking at the strikes in Mekelle, as well as residents fleeing Amhara as Ethiopia battle intensify, and also UN suspending all flights to Tigray amid Ethiopians' air raid. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back and we talk more about these stories. You're welcome back from the break. We are starting off with the Mekelle strike, and the Ethiopian government launched an airstrike Friday on the capital of the northern Tigray region. And residents in the city in the neighboring Amhara region said people there were taking flight from intensifying fighting. Humanitarian sources and the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which controls the northern region, said the airstrike hit a university in the regional capital, Mekelle. Government spokesperson Legese Tulu confirmed an airstrike to CNN but denied it hit the university. According to Tulu, the airstrike targeted a communication center being used by the TPLF on a military base in Mekelle. Reuters was not able to confirm either account independently, but eri-tv, controlled by the TPLF, reported that 11 civilians were wounded in the airstrikes, and at least the fourth day Mekelle has been targeted this week. Humanitarian sources said the UN plane was forced to abort a scheduled landing in Mekelle due to the airstrike. The government's critics have accused it of trying to cut off access to Tigray, which it denies. The whole city is panicking. The government has stepped up airstrikes on the Tigray capital as fighting has escalated in Amhara, a neighboring region where the TPLF has seized territory that the government and ally Amhara armed groups are trying to recover. Residents in Dessie, a major city in Amhara, told Reuters people were fleeing a day after TPLF spokesperson said its forces were within artillery range of the town. The whole city is panicking, a resident said, adding that people who could were leaving. He said he could hear the sound of heavy gunshots on Thursday night and into the morning, and that the bus fare to the capital Addis Ababa, about 385 kilometers, that is 240 miles to the south, had increased more than sixfold. There are now more than 500,000 internally displaced people in Amhara region. Atalel Abuhey, the Director of Communications for the National Disaster Risk Management Commission, told Reuters. Said Asefa, the local official working at a coordination center for displaced people in Dessie, said 250 people have fled there this week from fighting in the Girana area to the north. We now have a total of 900 displaced people here, and we finished our food stocks 3 days ago. Leun Mesfin, that is the medical director of Dessie Hospital, told Reuters 2 girls and an adult had died this week at his facility of wounds from artillery fire in the town of Wuchule. That is, both the government and the TPLF has described as the scene of heavy fighting over the past week. But the early year-long conflict between the government and force allied to the TPLF had killed thousands of people and displaced more than 2 million. The TPLF dominated Ethiopian politics for decades as the most powerful group in a multi-ethnic coalition, but has crashed with the government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who took power in 2018. Abiy sent central government troops who drove the TPLF out of Mekelle last year, but forces allied to the TPLF launched a counter-attack this year, recapturing Mekelle and nearly all of Tigray and seizing the swaths of Amhara. Now let's look at the UN suspending all flights to Tigray. So the United Nations has suspended all flights to the regional capital of the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia after government air raids forced a humanitarian flight carrying 11 passengers to abort landing in Mekelle. The UN Humanitarian Air Service, that is the UNHAS flight from Addis Ababa, has been cleared by federal authorities. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said but receives instructions to abort London by the Mekelle Airport Control Tower. The flight safely returned to the Ethiopian capital, he said, adding that UN agencies were carefully reviewing the circumstances of what happened. Ethiopian government spokesperson Legesse Tulu told the AP authorities were aware the UN flight was in the area, but said the UN and military flight had a different time and directions. It was not immediately clear how close the planes came to each other. But Getachew Reda, spokesperson for the Tigray People's Liberation Front (TPLF), in a tweet said, "Our air defense unit knew the UN plane was scheduled to land, and it was due in large measure to the air restraint. It was not caught in a crossfire." He suggested that Ethiopian authorities were setting up the UN plane to be hit by our guns. A military spokesperson did not respond to questions. It appeared to be a sharp escalation in the intimidation tactics authorities have used against aid workers amid the intensifying year-long Tigray war. The friction between the government and the humanitarian groups is occurring amid the world's worst hunger crisis in a decade, with close to 500,000 people in Tigray said to be facing famine-like conditions. The government since June has imposed what the UN calls a de facto humanitarian blockade on the region of some 6 million people, and the AP has reported that people have begun to starve to death. So now let's concentrate on how panicking the whole city is now. And meanwhile, fighting has escalated in Amhara, a neighboring region where TPLF has seized territory that the government and allied Amhara armed groups are trying to recover. Residents in Desi, a major city in Amhara, told the rioters that people were fleeing a day after this escalation began. The whole city is panicking, residents said, adding that people who could were leaving. He said he could hear sounds of gunfire and all that. So now there are now more than 500,000 internally displaced people in Amhara region. Ataleo Abuhe, the director of communications for the National Disaster Risk Management Commission, he is saying this one to Reuters. Thousands of people have been killed and more than 2 million have been forced to flee. Tigray remains under a communications blackout, making it difficult to verify claims, while areas of fighting in Amhara are largely unreachable as well. Thank you so much for watching today's editorials. My name is Sandra Asante. You should have a splendid day.